Good afternoon, all. As you know, we are here to present our presentation and the findings and understanding on the topic of Satyam scandal. Uh, Firstly, we are group number 4, and our group members are Jagriti Kara, Priyanka Santlani, Samut Trivedi, Simran Mafiwale, Pyong Gupta, and myself Akash Rai. And we are going to discuss about the introduction, the timeline, the scandal story, confession letter, the balance sheet, auditor's role, investigation, and the very important corporate governance that happened aftermath scandal, and the takeaways and suggestions that have been understood after studying the case. Now, I would like to call Jagrati to do further introduction.
Thank you, Akash. Good afternoon, sir. First, I give the introduction of this case. First, establishment. Satyam Company was formed in 1987 in Hyderabad by Mr. Ramalingam Raju. They started with 20 employees and growing rapidly as a global business. Satyam was an example of an Indian growing success. Now came to our next IT and BPO services. IT stands for Information Technology and BPO stands for Business Process Outsources. Satyam Company Services Limited was a rising star in the company India outsourced IT service industry. Now came to technical. IT service business including 1300 and 120 technical associate services, over 300 customer worldwide. Market. The market of IT service was estimated at nearly $400 billion. Satyam generated USD $467 million in total sales. The growth rate. Annual growth rate of India IT is 6.4%. The market major derive at the point in the time where the increasing importance of IT services to the business world. Right. Satyam Enterprises compound growth rate is 35%, operating profit is 21%. Earning here 0.12 to 0.6% growth annual growth rate. The 40% over the same period 2003 to 2009. Trading average trailing EBITDA multiplies of 15.36. Now came to our next point. That is registered in BSE and NSE. And BSE stands for Bombay Stock Exchange and NYSE stands for New York Stock Exchange. In 1991 to 1992, Satyam registered in BSE and in 2001 registered in NYSE, that is the New York Stock Exchange. Now came to our next point, that is awards. Satyam won numerous awards for innovation, governance, and cooperative accountability. Accounting. First is in 2007, Ernst and Young awarded by the Entrepreneur of the Year. Second is the 14th April 2008, Mr. Consult, leader in Indian CG, that is in compound governance, cooperative governance and accountability. The third is September 2008, Golden Peacock Award, World Council for Cooperative Governance for Global Excellence in cooperative accountability. After the Golden Peacock Award, they found the massive accounting fraud. Thank you. That is of my side. Over to Samit.
So, on 1987, June 24, Satyam Computers was established in Hyderabad. 1991 was the year when Satyam Computer debuted in Bombay Stock Exchange. In 2001, Satyam Computers was registered in New York Stock Exchange. In 2008, Satyam Computers revenue crosses $2 billion, which in 2001, which was 1 billion. On 2008, December 16, Satyam, CEO of Satyam Computers, proposes an investment program in Mehta's infrastructure and Mehta's properties, which was owned by his sons. But the proposal was aborted as the revolt in shareholders and also the shares of the company by 55%. On December 23, the World Bank gives an estimate in which it bans Satyam Computers to be in direct contact with banks for 8 years. He says that bank is providing them improper benefits to the bank staffs. Satyam on December 25, Satyam's response to the World Bank was that demands an apology from World Bank and also an full explanation of the statement which was given by World Bank. interestingly, Satyam never clear on the statement which was given by the World Bank for bearing them to enter in direct contracts. On December 26 and 28, what happened was, due to the statement given by World Bank, the independent director of the company resigns, and the stocks of the company further fell down. And due to this, three from the board resigns, and due to this, there was a management shape. Now, what happens was, on 2009, Jan 2, promoter stake starts falling because the institutions which has pledged the shares starts dumping their shares. So what happens was, promoter stake was fell down to 3.0%. On 2009 Jan 7, Ramalinga Raju resigns by admitting that he has inflated the balance sheet by 50,400 millions. Millions. And Ramalinga Raju also tries to keep the company afloat by hiring the company Lynch to bring investors for mergers, but never happens as on 2009 Jan 8, first legal action against the Satyam was filed in US against on the behalf of US shareholders by Vinale and Vinale and Izard Noble. On 2009 January 11, government interfered in this crisis because government don't want to be get blamed due to this crisis. So government takes in interference and appoints 3 new directors to solve this matter. On 2009 Jan 12, the new board members conducts a meeting in which they gives a plan that they need to sell the company in coming 100 days. That's all from my side. Now over to Simran.
Good afternoon. I'll be speaking about Satyam scandal. First, it is India's biggest corporate scam. So, Satyam scandal is the nation's biggest corporate scam. It was an accounting fraud where numbers were manipulated in the accounting statement. Through this, Mr. Ramalinga Raju created a fraud of $1.47 billion, which is rupees 7,800 crores. Next, India's Enron. Satyam scandal is known as India's version of Enron because of the accounting fraud it did by falsifying its statement. Whereas Enron was an accounting failure of Enron Corporation in US. It was the biggest audit failure. Next, Mr. Raju's confession. On January 7, 2009, Mr. Ramalinga Raju, the CEO of Satyam, wrote a letter to its board members confessing that he had been manipulating companies' accounting books for years. He also confessed that he had overstated assets and underreported liabilities. Why it happened? So, greed for money made Mr. Raju to do unethical practices. He forged companies' books for almost 9 years through that to show a good financial position of Satyam, and through that he attracted shareholders. So shareholders, and also because of this, the prices of shares increase, and so that he can sell them in inflated rates and earn profit. Next, techniques he used to manipulate the fraud. Techniques he used to manipulate the accounts. So he created numerous bank statements using his personal computer. Along with that, he created 6,000 fake 6,000 fake salary accounts. He also created numerous fake customers' identities, and through that he generated fake invoices in their names to inflate revenue. He also forged board's resolutions and illegally obtained funds for the company. Along with that, he also inflated income statement by claiming interest on income from the fake bank accounts. Next is failed attempt of Mehta's acquisition. As Satyam was growing, the gap between inflated balance sheet and the actual balance sheet increased. It increased to the level that it became unmanageable to control it. Mr. Raju made every possible attempt to eliminate the gap. Last attempt was Mehta's acquisition. He wanted to acquire Mehta's properties and Mehta's infrastructure. These are the real estate investment companies owned by Mr. Raju's family. He wanted to fill the gap by using Mehta's as their assets, and for this, Satyam's board, including its five independent directors, agreed Mr. Raju's proposal, and but this decision was taken back within 12 hours as the investors opposed because management went ahead without taking their permission. So this failed attempt led Mr. Raju with no other option than to confess. Lastly, the collapse of ethical standard. Satyam's scam is a case of ethical malpractices where he put his greed and ambitions before his duties towards his companies. What Mr. Raju did was totally unethical, and such behavior are not expected from a leader of any organization. Now, next, Priyanka will continue.
Now I will be talking about the confession letter. On January 7, 2009, the chairman and founder of Satyam Computers wrote a letter to board of directors regarding regarding the facts which were included in the fraud. He said that it was a burden on his conscience. So the first was facts. There were so many items in the balance sheet, like cash and cash balances, accrued interest, and the revenues, which increased the gap between the actual and the reported profits. And according to him, it was like riding a tiger, not knowing how to get off without being eaten. So the only way to cover up this was Mehta's acquisition, but he failed to do so. So further, he talked about the involvement. He told that neither he, including his family members, nor any managing director sold any shares within the last 8 years, just for the small amount which was used for philanthropic purposes, that was sales or activities. Further, he talked that rupees 1230 crore was invested as a hidden fund raised in last 2 years for the further operations. And then he said that no money was taken by the managers and other, and he also, they don't use any they don't use any inflated profit for their personal gain. And last, that nobody was aware of the real situation. All the board members, including their family members and senior executives, were unaware of the real situation which Satyam was going through. And at last, he recommended some of the steps. First one was formation of task force. So this he did so that this arise out of the failure of Mehta's acquisition, so that the problem can be solved further. And then this force consisted of the accomplished leaders from business and support functions. And he also suggested that Mr. Ram Manampati as a chairman and CEO of task force. Second, additionally he talked about the Merrill Lynch, which was an American and wealth management division of Bank of America, which was mainly involved in investment management for further merger opportunities. And then he also said that to do the restatement of assets in accordance with whatever the facts were told earlier. And then finally he confessed that to all the Satyamites for not working up to the level, because it is not expected from a chairman of any company, and he resigned from the bank. Now I will like Akash to continue.
So firstly, as you can see in the balance sheet, the basic idea of the balance sheet is to inflate the profit so that he can show the strength and the strong financial position of the company, so that his share prices got inflated and his share prices rise by numbers. So first thing here is overstated asset. Firstly, we need to understand what is overstated asset. Overstated assets means that the assets, the original figure of the asset was actually very low than what is stated. Okay, so in this case, As you can see in the balance sheet, cash and bank balance is actually 321 crores, which was reported of 5,361 crores. That shows us the difference of 5,040 crores. That means the assets, cash is also an asset and it is overstated. The second thing is understated liabilities. Understated liabilities, as we already understood what is overstated assets, understated liabilities also shows the strength of a company, because the financial statement, the less the liabilities, the more the strength of the company. So, according to the financial statement, understated liabilities was actually 1,230 crores, but it is reported none. It means there would be a zero liability. Third thing is overstated debtors. Overstated debtors. Data is also kind of asset, and as you can see in the screen, that 2,161 is the actual figure of debtors, and the reported figure is 2,651, which shows us the difference of 490 crores. That shows how he inflated the assets and deflated the liabilities to strengthen, to show the strengthening position of the company. Fourth thing is fake salary accounts. So Mr. Raju created number of fake salary accounts. There were actually 6,000 fake salary accounts in which he was trying to credit the shareholders' money in the name of salary so that he can further use it. And that salary accounts also shows the strength of the company and the massive structure they are working on. By massive structure, what I mean is organizational structure. So it shows that the massive organizational structure that they are working on, that they have 6,000 extra employees. This shows how massive structure of the company is. Fifth point is fake bank accounts and accrued income from fake bank FDs. So as he created fake salary accounts, he also created fake bank accounts. He told that they have bank accounts in which he have FDs of fixed deposits of different amounts, and from there he can get accrued income. What it means is that he can get a very huge amount of interest. As you can see in the balance sheet, that the actual interest that has been generated by FDs were nil, and what is shown is 376.5 crores, which shows the difference of 376 crores. So this is how he told that he has fixed deposits, which will create this interest, this amount of interest, that is 376 crores in a year. Sixth is tunneling effect, and I think this is the most important thing to understand in this case. Tunneling effect means that firstly, it is an illegal business practice which shows that the owner of the company and the top level management, the directors, the shareholders, indirectly or directly uses company's assets, company's future business for their personal gain. So here what they did is he indirectly used company. Firstly, he inflated the prices, created a strong image of the company, strong position of the company, which led to increase in the share price. And the extra amount that he has generated, he used in his personal venture, which is Mehta's. So that's how he used tunneling effect. Now I would like to call Priyanka to further present this slides.
Now I will be talking about the auditor's role. PricewaterhouseCoopers is a global auditing firm who audited books of Satyam for 9 years, that was from 2000 to 2009. Missing red flags. Red flags is a type of warning which is given by the auditor to the auditing firm whenever it audits the company. So there was in balance sheet of Satyam, there was one item under the head non-interest bearing deposit of amount $1.04 billion, which was an extra cash. And according to the accounting professionals, the company must either invest in the interest bearing deposit or should distribute the excess cash to the shareholders. So PwC needed to find out this and give red flag to the company, but it failed to do so. And auditors did not independently verify the banks in which Satyam had accounts. Next is corruption. PwC is said to be a corrupt company because Satyam used to pay twice the amount as other company paid. So this was the situation for the viewers to think that PwC was complicit in the fraud. And the last is reason for criticism. As it was said in the case that Merrill Lynch discovered the case in merely 10 days, but PwC, being the auditor for 9 years, was unable to detect the fraud. So, and it was neglecting the actions of Satyam and creation of fictitious assets so many times by the owner numerous times. So the missing of red flags and the confidence that Satyam is doing all the uh, doing all the activities with proper accounting practices led PwC for criticism. Now, I would like to call upon Sumi.
Investigation. When the fraud came out and investigation was done, various people involved in Satyam scandal were charged. First, Mr. Ramalinga Raju, the chairman, and Mr. B. Rama Raju, the managing director. Both were arrested by Indian authority on the charges of fraud, criminal conspiracy, breach of trust, and forgery. Second is CFO and company's auditor. According to ICAI, the CFO, that is Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Srinivas Vadlamani, and PwC's auditor were found guilty for professional misconduct and were charged and arrested for this. Next is CEO's overseas assets. So when fraud came out, the CBI took CEO's Mr. Raju's all the overseas assets under its investigation. Lastly, civil charges in US against Satyam. So the various holder of ADR filed the charges on Satyam in US against the fraud he did. Various people were directly or indirectly affected because of Satyam scam. Few among them are first employees. Employees suffered a lot. They were financially, legally, socially, and morally exploited. They suffered non-payment of salaries, project cancellation, and unsurety of future employment. Second is clients. Clients lost their trust on Satyam. Few among them cancelled their contract with Satyam and moved towards the competitors. Moreover, they were worried about their project continuity, confidentiality, and cost overrun. Next is shareholders. Shareholders lost their valuable investment in Satyam. Along with that, they were unsure about India, whether it is an ideal place for investment or not. Next, bankers were worried about about their recovery of their funds. Lastly, Indian government was worried about the nation's image and the image of IT sector for investment and doing business. Now, next, Vyom will continue.
Thank you, Shimran. Now, corporate governance at Satyam. Firstly, what is corporate governance? Corporate governance is a system of rules, practices, and process by which a firm directed and controlled. Corporate governance essentially involves the balancing of an interest of stakeholders such as customers, suppliers, shareholders, etc. Secondly, award related to corporate governance. World Council of Corporate Governance gives the Golden Peacock Award to bring a global excellence in corporate accountability. In September 2008, the Satyam win this award, Golden Peacock Award. After just 4 months, unfortunately, Satyam became an enterprise of a massive accounting fraud. Now, poor corporate governance. Satyam violated the rules of a corporate governance and it failed to maintain the good relationship with the shareholder and stakeholder. Why the Satyam why the Satyam become an example of a poor corporate governance after winning the Golden Peacock Award? Firstly, non-fulfillment of a obligation. Satyam every company have a obligation to present their true and fair report to its shareholder. But Satyam does not fulfill this obligation. It presents a falsified and overinflated financial report to its shareholder. Second, the opportunity to consent. Second, every company have a responsibility to take major decision before taking and before taking a consent of a shareholder. But in Satyam does not take any consent related to purchase of a Mehta's property and Mehta's infra. It impacts the share market of a Satyam in New York Stock Exchange, and New York Stock Exchange the Satyam price was plunged by 55%. And next is aftermath Satyam scandal. Firstly, share price. In Indian stock market, the share price was fall to rupees 11.50 rupees after declaring the scandal. In this graph we see that the fluctuation of price starting from 16 December to 7 January. It is before the revelation of fraud, but the fluctuating price are arises in the market. Firstly, we see that in this graph, we see that on 16th December, the share price of a Satyam in the market is 226.55 rupees. After announcing deal with Mehta's Properties and Mehta's Infra, the share price was fall to 157.1 rupees. And after and he realized the Satyam price was fall, the Satyam revoked his decision, and again we see that the Satyam price again rises to 169.5 rupees. And we see that continuously and increase on 22 December 2008 and again falls in 26 December 2008 to 140.7. It means it is the time when the World Bank banned the Satyam for doing a business with bank for 8 years, because it not provide a proper benefit to its employee. And after we seeing that the share price will continuously fall to 29 December 30, 32 or 2 January. In this we because 29 January, only in we see that 20th December to 2 January the share price of Satyam increases because company says that the lender sold their pledged share in the market. So customer feel that the liability of a company is decreases, means the assets is increased. So we can invest in that company. And after we seeing the 7th January the Satyam price was fall to 39.95, means it is the time when the Satyam chairman admit he done this fraud and he resigned from this post. And second, in New York Stock Exchange (NYSE), the price of share in New York Stock Exchange is $29.10 at 2008. But after a scandal, it brings to 1.80 US per dollar. Other company share price affected. As we all know, the role played by the PwC in this scenario, that the clients of PwC of 100 companies is affected by the investor, because investor bear a huge amount of loss in Satyam scandal, like amount approx 2.82 billion dollar. So it is very careful to invest in those companies who are the clients of a Satyam, or who are the clients of a PwC company. Next slide, please. Next slide is promoter shares. Firstly, what is promoter? A promoter is a person or an organization who undertakes to form a company with reference to a given object. Or now, what is promoter shareholding? Number of share hold by the promoter is called a promoter shareholding. In this graph, we see that the promoter shareholding decreases from 25.6% in 2000 March to 2.15% in 2008. Why the shareholding of promoter decreases? In according to my point, if I am an investor in Satyam, and after reading this case, I interpreted this. Satyam mentioned in the case he started fraud from 1 April 1991, 1 April 1999. After 2 years, the promoter share gradually decreases to 2.15% in 2008. It means we can interpret it that a promoter have a knowledge of a fraud is happening in this organization. So we can interpret it that promoter have a knowledge to this fraud. Next is sale of a Satyam. Firstly, appointment of a new board of director. Government government appoints three new board of director in the sale of a Satyam. Firstly, Deepak S. Parekh. He is the executive director of a home lender in HDFC. And secondly, K. Karin. He is the former president of a NASCOM, and one who is the country director of a NSE. And they all work in the direction to sell the Satyam company. Sale of company within 100 days. Government appoints a new board of director with an objective to salvage the firm and sell the company within 100 days. To plan an action, the new board of director made with new bankers, accountant, lawyers, and government officers to immediately sell this firm. And to accomplish this objective, it hire Goldman Sachs, Avendus Capital, to charge them to sell this company within 100 days and shortest time period. Auction of Satyam. By mid-March 2009, the several IT players are interested and bring a confidence to purchase of a Satyam. And SEBI appoint a Supreme Court Justice Barucha, to oversee this transaction and instill and bring a confidence to its bidders. And on 13 April 2009, the bidding was held, and the highest bidder, Tech Mahindra, purchased the Satyam of rupees $1.13 per share. Now Satyam is a part of a Tech Mahindra. Next, over to Akash for concluding the slide.
So I will be presenting the takeaways and suggestions. So firstly, the very basic thing of accounting is prudence concept and the concept and principles that we have already studied in class 11th. So first that was violated was prudence concept. So what is prudence concept? So prudence concept is the concept which tells us about that there should be we should understand that there should be no outgoing what I can say is that it is the concept which shows that we should go further without thinking about the future obligations. The second is disclosure concept that we should disclose the full and true value of the company, that should be disclosed to all the relevant members and all the stakeholders. Third thing is going concern. So going concern means that we should go further without thinking of short-term benefits. We should be thinking that we have a very bright future and we should go further till infinite so that we can achieve greater heights. So in this case of Satyam, the going concern was violated as Mr. Raju took an advantage for the short-term thinking, and he was only concerned about the short-term benefits of himself. Fourth is verifiable objective principle. So what verifiable objective principle is that there should be a proper reported document of every transaction that is happening in the company. But in this case that we saw that they have inflated number of assets and deflated number of liabilities, which shows that they have created a very fake things in the company. As they created fake salary accounts, they created number of fake sales slips. So this shows that there was no reported document of these things, and this is also violated. The second suggestion was periodic review of legal reports by independent directors. So independent directors are not influenced by a company's internal, so that we can say that there should be a periodic review of legal reports, every legal reports, financial reports by independent directors, so that they can look into the matter and give the concerned suggestions to the company. Third thing is rotating the auditors in couple of years. If like what happened in PwC is that the same auditors were working with Satyam for a number of years, and if we keep on rotating the auditors, that will not get the auditors comfortable with the company internals and also help in strengthening the system of auditing. Fourth is scrutinize every detail. Scrutinize means investigate every detail. So in as it started in 1997 when Mr. Raju started it with a very small gap in the balance sheet. So if that time PwC or the auditors scrutinized that small detail, a very small gap in the balance sheet, this could have been stopped. So by that we can say that we should scrutinize every detail. Fifth thing is management should ensure that internal audit staffs are able to prevent and detect financial statement frauds. So what this means is that internal audit staff also, we are talking about the productivity of internal audit staff. The internal audit staff should be productive and prevent and detect the financial statements fraud in the company. Sixth point is corporate governance should be stronger. So corporate governance is one of the key factors in this case, as the top level management failed to govern it with the harmony and truthfulness. So we should think that corporate governance should be stronger in every organization. Sixth thing is whistleblower culture. Whistleblower culture is not that much common in India. We should promote whistleblower culture so that more Merrill Lynch can be created in companies like Satyam. Thank you.